What?
Like
what?
We just if you're listening to this podcast episode, I don't know what happened. Max and I have lost our damn mind already because we were just picking up random items from our desk or around our desk, bringing them to the camera view. Oh, hang on, I got you. Like here's mine now. Okay, hey. Anyway, we should probably get this show on the road, Liz, instead of being dorks.
What? You know what? That's rude. I think I run a pretty tight ship around here, and we're doing.
I'm sorry. Was that out loud?
Devin, sir, so early. Is that a steering wheel?
Max, how much junk do you have by your desk, bro?
I have so much. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Fine. All right. You know what? Fine. Max, you're in timeout. Devin, okay. I love you and you get special treatment. So this is your one warning. You're not in timeout yet, but you could end up there. George?
I was waiting for where do I stand for the rest of the podcast?
Thin ice, my dude. Thin ice. No, I'm just kidding. Are we ready for Liz's little petty parade? Because I'm very excited about today's episode, right? We're doing our inbound recap. The inbound recap of destiny, if you will, right? Product updates, human interactions, what's next? But we're going to start with an airing of grievances, which if you have been on this podcast before, or you spent more than 30 seconds with me, you knew this was going to happen. Because I am a woman of passion, but mostly grievances. I wasn't at inbound. I wish I had been at inbound. I wish so hard I had been at inbound right now. And I think I speak on behalf of most of the people listening that I spent most of last week crying into Lean Cuisines, watching Law and Order, and looking at my LinkedIn feed while everybody's like, I'm learning so much. I'm going to happy hour. I'm best friends with Dharmesh. Have you seen his great taco truck? It was fine.
Oh,
yeah.
that's hot.
It was great. It was great, and I was fine, and I'm in no way upset. But beyond that, aside from my obvious bitterness and the fact that I'm totally not fine, I really am excited to actually have us talk today about inbound because we spent a lot of episodes building up to it. We talked about how you actually get the most out of it with your team. We had a whole episode dedicated to folks who literally travel from all around the world, from freaking Australia, and they do so every year because it's so freaking valuable. We had an episode with George and Devin and myself talking about how inbound has changed our lives. Max is a cyborg with no feelings, so he was unable to join us for that episode, but I would assume the one cell in his heart is like, it's valuable.
Yeah.
It's valuable. No, but we spent a lot of time talking about why this event is so important. George, you talked about how it changed your life 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Devin, it changed both of our careers. Max, all jokes aside, it has radically transformed each one of our lives, and we are one of thousands of people who have those stories. So that's what I want to talk about today. For those of us who weren't able to go, or for those of us who actually did go, but we want to make sure that the right things stick, that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
Product and inbound news, talking about unique takeaways about the people at inbound, your biggest aha moments and wins, and also what questions you were still left with unanswered. So, aside from me barely being able to repress my envy throughout this conversation, are we ready to dig in? Because I have lots of questions.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So I want to open with a pretty big open-ended question. Was this any different than others in the past? Was this remarkably different than any other inbound?
For me, yes. But because as a HubSpot employee, I get to see things that other people can't. I can tell you that this was the smoothest and well-run inbound I've seen in a very long time. There were no hiccups, no panic moments, more than usual. Partner Day went really well. As far as talent, people showed up, did their thing. Everybody was on time. John Mulaney was hilarious.
Oh my gosh,
he researched the entire conference before he showed up and then proceeded to roasting it. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
What? Are you serious?
Hang on. Don't go too far, though. I want to step back a little bit because Devin just let me talk about this real quick so hopefully nobody else talks about it. First of all, Partner Day is back, meaning we had a while where there wasn't a partner day. Now partner day is back. And the reason that partner day was dope, and Chris in the live chat literally said, helps when someone super awesome is the MC of partner day, because it was Devin, which, by the way, is a good thing. Unless your name's George B. Thomas, then it might be a bad thing, because when you don't show up in the room at exactly 20 minutes and you're out and you're talking to people and somebody runs up to you and goes, "Hey, bro, you're getting called out from the stage."
Oh my God.
You gotta run your butt back into partner day and sit down. You're like, everybody's looking at me. All of the humans are looking at me right now.
Yes. Let it
Yeah, I
work.
made things awkward for George more than once that day.
Yes, he did.
It was so the funniest part for me for partner day, which I only got to experience just a little bit of Devin's MC skills at the beginning, but I remember when he was given his sort of like introduction up there and doing it, I missed the worst opportunity. I missed the best opportunity to make a joke in front of everybody, and I hesitated and I missed the moment. But Devin, I told you about it after. So there was a point where Devin was saying something about socks, and there was this point where he lifted up his leg and he was showing the socks that he was wearing, right? Which, if anyone knows Devin, they were like a sick pair. They were Deadpool socks, right?
Yeah.
They were.
And there was this quiet moment where Devin was lifting up his pants to show his socks, and in my head, I wanted to scream out from the back of the room, "But it's not a vice." And that's me and Devin's little inside joke for talking about how his Deadpool obsession is not a vice. And I wanted to scream it out, but I didn't. The camera that was in the middle of the room was perfectly blocking his leg, so I didn't see it. And then I was so disappointed that I didn't just shout it from the back of the room to get him to chuckle while I was on stage. So I told him about it after, but would have been an epic moment. Didn't happen, though.
That sucks. Way to screw that up, Max. Jesus. Actually, okay, so Devin, you saw the outline, and I know because you love the attention on you so much, you love that there's a whole section dedicated to just Devin. We'll get to that. But George, I want to touch upon something that you said at the start of this, because I want to make sure the HubSpot powers that be at least hear this part. So Partner Day, we used to have it. Then Partner Day went away. And you are super excited as a HubSpot partner yourself that HubSpot Partner Day is back. Can you tell me why? Because I know a lot of people go to Inbound and they used to skip HubSpot Partner Day.
Yeah.
But you're glad it's back.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's so many reasons, right? One, it's like the small group to the mega church, right? You've literally got like HubSpot Inbound, like 12,000 people, and then you've got the group, the 1,600 partners that are there. If I go a layer deeper than that, Liz, at the beginning of this episode, you talked about how we even did Inbound Down Under. I got to sit side by side with Ian Jacob from Australia, from HubShots, and we were actually like poking fun at the fact that Devin was trying to get us not to take pictures of stuff we weren't supposed to take pictures of, because we're like, "Hey, dude, hide my camera." Like, let's get, like we really didn't. That's a joke. It's a joke, people. But being able to sit next, Devin's like, I don't think it was a joke. But being able to sit next to Ian Jacob, and also in front of me, Blue Leads. Dang on it, I'm brain farting. Anyway, the owner of Blue Leads and his son. I got to meet his son because his son was at Partner Day, right? And so Eric Baum, there. Sorry, it just took me a minute. So being able to sit with them and like just see people and hang out and talk in this more micro thing, but then also I'd be remiss. Getting to look at something before everybody else, and Andy Petrie, and him doing the first presentation of like what was going to be released in the morning spotlight, and seeing things of like AI this, AI that. I was like, oh yeah, this is dope. This is dope.
I had a funny little moment when I was doing a TikTok live, just kind of like walking through the BCEC. And I walk into Partner Day with the thing still running right at the moment where Devin's given the beginning of his speech, where it's like, there's going to be people walking around making sure you're not taking pictures. So I immediately just like went, oh shit, and just like knocked the live out like immediately and just abruptly ended it when like a bunch of people. I had like 179 people like just randomly watch me like walk around the BCEC, and then I get into partner day and I'm like, oh, this is all confidential crap, and I just like immediately ended it. It was hilarious. See ya. Yeah.
I did that one for them a long time ago. They're like, are you taking photos? Absolutely not.
I'm taking selfies.
Just right here. Just look right here.
Snap.
So let's dig into some of the big HubSpot news, because I know we have a lot of human moments that we want to cover, some big ideas, but I want to make sure that before we get into all of that goodness, we don't miss some of the big stuff that came out of Inbound this year. So George, why don't we start with you? What were some of the big HubSpot announcements that blew your freaking mind this year?
Well, first of all, there's big announcements, and there's something that they tried to, I feel like, slide past 12,000 people, which I'll get to. I'll get to that. So first of all, it was the year of AI.
Shocking.
Right? And it's shocking, but it really wasn't necessarily the way in which you kind of thought it might be. There were some things that were released that were like, oh, wow, okay. So one of the things that made me go, was the AI campaign assistant, and being able to press a button and like campaign pieces just being like, and they're there. The AI website or web page, not website. There's a key thing, by the way. It's a page, not a site, but website assistant was pretty dope.
What was pretty dope about it? Because here's the thing I want to make sure, because especially they rolled out a lot of products around that. What, for those listening at home who may not have been there, why is that pretty dope?
Yeah, so listen, right now there's this kind of conversation happening around AI or generative AI, and like now there's no longer ever writer's block.
That's not true.
Which I love, like, because I can just kind of maybe get some ideas and take it from there. Imagine like design block, and like I don't know what I want the page to look like, but all of a sudden being able to just generate a page and at least then start to move blocks around and make it the way that you want. So for me, AI in several different ways is about how do we get the quick start? How do we get the quick start so we can actually...
What I call that is blank page syndrome. It doesn't necessarily get you over writer's block, but it gets you out of blank page syndrome.
Yeah,
it gives you something to start with.
Yeah, it gives you that quick start, and then you can mold it from there, because you should always be molding things to be more human from whatever you're generating AI. But then here's the one, right? Because I want to leave some for other people to talk to about as well. The one that I was like, oh my gosh. And now I want to start creating about 10,000 pieces of content today and tomorrow and the next day is the AI chat. And the AI chat bot that basically is in the very near future going to be able to index every piece of content that you have on your website, and with AI understanding, serve up those pieces of content, whether it be a page, a blog, a knowledge article. And so the idea of being able to be a small to medium-sized business or enterprise and have this AI technology that really allows them to self-serve whatever content you have, whatever they're looking for. I'm just like, this is a game changer if people leverage this properly and think about now what does that mean for the different verticals of content I need to create for what customers are going to be asking, what prospects are going to be asking, what humans are going to need to be learning. To me, that was the big one in the room. But I'll let the other guys go, and then I want to circle back around of like what they tried to sneak past the partners first, and I was like, wait, did nobody else freaking see that crap? And then tried to like get it past 12,000 people in a room when they did the launch. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Devin, I'm going to have you go next, but can we all just take a moment to shame George for becoming the circle back guy? Because that just happened. That happened live and it was recorded.
Yeah, what's wrong with being the circle back guy?
If you have to ask George, Devin. So what were some of the
circle back girl.
I was literally going to sing it too. It was in my head.
Oh, man,
so Devin, what were some of the big HubSpot announcements that blew your mind away?
For me, it was there was two things. One was accredited partners getting more access when it comes to integrations and basically being able to get deeper with API stuff.
Oh, nice.
But also AI reporting, generating reports with prompts.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Dude.
Give me an example of that. What does that mean?
Well,
Talk to a machine and a report pops up. That's what he means.
No, but
Is
so
it
like, give me
single
an
object
example
or
of
is it CRB or single object?
I don't think they went into detail,
Yeah.
but I imagine it's starting a single object. But when they say, it's like, how many leads came from such and such, or which leads came from this campaign or something, or just basically just asking the system to generate
asking
a report
questions,
for
and
you.
it just gives you the data money.
And that's it. And in
being able to
graphs.
say, yeah, being able, Devin, I'm sorry. You just excited me. Oh my God. Like, and be able to be like, and show it to me in a donut.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like not only being able to ask for the data, but being able to ask for it in the way that you want to see it is just
So
absolutely.
like it could be like a donut graph. It could be like a line graph, a pie chart. It could be a big list of numbers that tap dance and sing for me.
Yeah, and the thing is that like it's like with all things AI, it is both exciting and terrifying. It's exciting because the average layperson wouldn't necessarily need to know how to use the customer reports tool to get what they want. But then it's kind of terrifying because there are people whose bread and butter is generating these reports and dashboards. But I still think there's going to be a place for it because there was somebody who told me once when AI first started being a thing, it's like it's not going to be about how good you are as an artist. It's going to be about how good you are as a wordsmith. And basically how good you are at prompts. And the better you are at prompts, the better, at the time we were talking about generative AI, the better images you can create, but the same thing can come to place with the better you are at prompts, the better data quality, the better text, better campaigns, whatever. But it's going to come down to basically people are going to have to be better at communicating with
Yep.
AI in order to get what you're looking for.
I have a little nugget that I want to drop in here. George, I know you're chomping at the bit. We're going to get there, but I got to say one thing. I got to say one thing first, because it's exactly what Devin was talking about. I will tell you the number one skill I tell people to cultivate, and we're starting to see it now become much more important because of AI. Become great at asking specific questions. The better questions you answer, the better content you get, the better reports you get. George, I just saw you slam your fist, so I'm going to let you go, bud.
Well, this is where I was going. Like here's the thing. Because Devin said layperson, right? And I got excited about being able to say, I want to see XYZ in this thing. Or asking the question. But here's the thing. I think there's going to be a time where you're going to see, like right now, people are teaching how to be a great prompt engineer. You're going to see a time, and it might be this guy, it might be some other guy, but you're literally going to go watch a YouTube video and be like, and here's the 7 questions you need to ask your HubSpot reporting AI. Because they're not going to know the right questions to ask.
You know what?
They're
I'd actually
literally
be
not
more-
going to know how to ask the machine the thing to get the thing they want.
I would actually be more interested, George, in what are the questions I shouldn't ask? Because I think this is where my brain goes when I think about the AI and introduction into building reports. I think about the C-suite executive who knows just enough to be dangerous but doesn't understand why certain questions shouldn't be asked. Whether that's too finite of a time range, whether it's this chart is going to be dumb. Like there are things where it's just like, I think there is the art of understanding how to ask great questions, right? And in the AI context, we call those prompts, but your outputs are only ever going to be as good as your inputs, but also then strategically, you may get a great chart that is 100% accurate, but you had no business asking that question in the first place.
Yeah, I love Chris. Chris gave us a great example in the chat. Which, by the way, if you're listening to this in the podcast and you haven't realized you can actually like watch live and interact with us, hey, head over to the community, HubHeroes.com community. But Chris in the chat goes, like, a question might be, how many leads did I get from my one LinkedIn company page post promoting my product?
None.
Not the right question, bro.
You
Not
got
the right
none.
question.
Max, what were some of the big product updates for you that blew your mind?
And where are you driving?
Dude,
No, where are
are
we
you
going?
driving?
On
Are
a
you
journey?
driving while we're podcasting right now?
It's just my ADHD. I'm soothing it.
We're doing great, guys.
Well, I
Giant
mean,
fidget spinner.
hey,
Watch out for the
let's not
Listeners,
forget
this is
that
what
they.
driving sounds like, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget they relaunched Sales Hub in a big way, right? So a whole
What?
bunch of updates there.
Well, we got the updates. Remember, we were not all there.
well-
Some of us were crying.
Yeah, they made a big splash about the prospecting workplace. If you haven't messed around with the prospecting workplace, that thing's cool. That came out in beta like a little while ago, so it's not like new. But it's basically just a place. Oh,
But the leads tab in the prospecting
Yeah.
tool is new.
Wait,
Yes.
so let's look at the prospecting workplace. What is it?
it's a place where you can go and you can see all of your tasks all in one place. You can see your schedule. So like when they built the new infrastructure for like the singular central calendar integrations, right? Like that's powering all of that stuff. Yeah, so it's like scheduling. You can see like the status of a lot of your sequences, which like I don't quite understand like why I need to see all that in there. But yeah, it's like mostly a place where it's like one place you can go work out of to get like full access to your calendar and full access to like your tasks and everything. And then they added a brand new object called the lead object, which, you know, for anyone who has, yeah, exactly.
George,
That's
you
what a
want to
lot of
talk
people
about
did.
that, bud? You good?
Well, let's explain what it is first. So it's not the lead object like you may know from Salesforce, which I'm sure a lot of people saw that and then had trauma responses back to their Salesforce days about the lead object, right? It's so whereas like a lead object in Salesforce was more so like a baby contact, you can think of a lead object in HubSpot as more of a baby deal, right? So you can trigger these leads to get created, and they're really just like, it's hard to call them like a full object because they're not like a object that you can like create custom properties for yet. You also don't really necessarily see them in a sit index page without like with the rest of like the objects you have in HubSpot. So it's sort of this like kind of like pseudo object of the contact record. You can also associate leads to companies, which surprised me. I didn't know that you could do that as well. You can create them through workflows, which is really neat, but they're almost meant to be like a deal before a deal, right? Like, and it solves like, I think, a pretty interesting problem where, you know, people often ask like, when is the right time to open up a deal? Right. You don't want the SDRs opening the deals, because if the SDRs are passing that stuff on to an AE, the AE is the one closing the deal. Right. And if deals are getting opened up too early before they really should be, you're tanking a close one ratio, which is like kind of goofy if you're tracking that kind of stuff in any meaningful way. Right. So I think it's like kind of cool that like they have this thing where it can track the instance of someone like hand raising that's interested in like actually talking to a person about a solution, which is very different than someone just like going and downloading content, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how people use this. The one gripe that I have with it when I start playing around with it, because keep in mind, like you basically qualify this thing down to the end, and if it qualifies, it creates a deal. So it's meant to be like a little, you know, level 1 Pokemon that evolves into a deal Pokemon, like, you know, so
Deal Charizard.
yeah. Elite is Charmander. The deal is Charmeleon or something. I don't know.
Oh my
right?
God.
Yeah,
Dealasaur. Nice.
Velosaur. Yeah, there you go.
Let's drive my car. Anyway, so the one thing that the reason that I like it is because it'll cause less deals to get opened up that never should have been, because there is an instance of that hand raised for someone to work. Hold on, George. Hold on.
His
And
stank face,
the
for
other
people
thing,
watching at home, is so loud right now. It is a
Yeah.
lot.
But here's the other thing though. It's like, it was kind of a pain in the butt to be like, well, what do I manage that with? Like, I can build a whole bunch of different views or lists that tell me when someone's filled out a certain form and just work the contact record from there. But it's nice to have something that represents like separate instances of someone reaching out about something right now. Like, I've seen this a lot with real estate or people who like sell properties where they want to track different inquiries for different properties, right? Like those aren't treated as the same lead, even though it's the same person. It's measuring a record of interest in one property and measuring a record of interest in another property, right? And so I used to see a lot of people create like these inquiry objects that kind of did the same thing that this like lead object is. My one big gripe with the lead object, it's really goofy that there could be multiple instances of a lead but you can't change the name of the lead, which makes it so confusing to manage it if there are multiple leads associated to the same contact, right? And there's no way of changing the name of it, which is really goofy. So anyway, I'm just going to drive my car.
Okay.
George, go ahead and rip me apart.
George, just to be clear, can we talk about the 5 stages of grief we all watched him go through during that, and how much it's killing him now that I'm still talking? George,
I'm just
go
going to be
ahead.
dodging him. I'm just going to be dodging him.
Listen. I love the
Humans.
and unfortunately the
He's never said
are
it's
going to
sad,
be
guys.
very confused because let me just tell you, my boy Kyle Jepsen might have put out one of his most important videos to date about this topic. And Liz, we need to find the URL. We need to make sure it's in the description. But here's the deal. If you're an inbound purist, you realize that one of the major conversations that we historically have had is that not all leads are ready to go to sales.
True.
Sometimes they need to be nurtured, and then they should go to sales when they're ready for that kind of conversation. Then comes the prospecting tool, and we add in a tab that is leads, which is fine, except for that if I go into my settings and I go into my life cycle stages, I see that when anybody is created in my portal or company, they're created as a lead by default, and nobody has been taught to go change that to something else. They
Yeah.
also haven't been taught to go into the lead settings for the lead tab of the prospecting tool and maybe set it to marketing qualified lead or sales qualified lead for it to actually show up as a lead for the entire conversation that Max just had. And also, if you go to most of your forms, what is it set by default when somebody converts on a form? A lead. And so all of a sudden you're going to have a metric. Where's my beeper? Of leads. It's a.
George,
You're going to have a prospecting tool with every freaking lead that your forms or somebody added to your thing, because we have to go and educate everybody now that uses HubSpot the fact that they got to change it here, or they got to change it there, or they got to change it somewhere, or else ish is going to be broke.
And also,
breath,
here's the
take a
other
breath.
thing. Here's where I agree with all of your anger. Way to pick the property that like most HubSpot users have a totally shitty relationship with, right?
my
Like,
God.
how many people do you talk to and like the first thing you figure out is like, are you using life cycle stages properly? What is that?
A what?
Huh? What?
Yeah, I
what
mark
is
them as
that?
customers when they buy stuff.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. It's like a lot of this tool. I think I think what they should do is they should have that off by default. Because the thing is like so many people don't know how to use that property, right? Never mind customize it or like use it in the right way, you know? So it's just
I can
like,
spell it.
Chad hang on, I gotta go to the chat real quick. Chad in the chat goes, what a cycle stage?
a what cycle
What a
stage?
cycle stage?
Yeah,
Oh my God,
exactly.
Chad, you are popping off in the chat, man. We love you. This is amazing. This is exactly why people should be joining us live. Also,
We stand
literally
Chad.
watch George explode. Inbound Dad is mad at us, and I'm not sure if it's
I
my
might need a nap after that. I expended
I
a
get
lot
it.
of
I'm
energy.
going to give you a break,
I
bud.
just
I'm
don't.
going to give you a break. So, Devin, let's come over to you, my guy. We're going to switch gears for a little bit. Hopefully, talk about something that doesn't give George an aneurysm. What was the best session you attended? The one that you're still thinking about?
Andrew Huberman, that was very validating.
What was the topic?
Drink water, get sleep.
Yeah, basically.
It's just that, wait.
If you could sum it up into one statement, it was take cold showers, drink water, gets lots of sleep. Yeah, for me, it was pretty validating. Some people don't know I have ADHD, and so being able to hear a lot of, even though he said I don't like using the term brain hacks, personally, I love using the term brain hacks because that's exactly what it feels like I'm doing, is tricking my brain into associating dopamine with things that I hate in order to get stuff done. It was just very validating to hear that, and a lot of the practices. I definitely don't take cold showers and have no intention of starting.
It's great.
Oh, good for
Cold
you,
showers
buddy.
are awesome. I've started doing them.
Psycho.
Hey, good for all of you. And thoughts and prayers to the families of your serial killing victims. So,
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm fine. I'm fine.
yeah,
If you take cold showers, you're unhinged. Boo, boo. Sorry, go ahead.
that's it.
Max, are you still driving? Where are
Yeah.
we going?
Yeah, I think that one was great. I think Dr. Schur, Yvette Cole Schur, I think her name is, Beyonce's publicist, spoke at Black and Inbound.
Wow.
And just the way she was just breathing life into everyone there was amazing. Troy Sandage, who hosted Inbound this year, he had a session at Black and Inbound.
We got to put a link in the show notes. If you may recall him from one of our first episodes about growth strategy, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And he was talking about the importance of brand and what it takes to grow. And it was also really inspiring. I had the pleasure of being his interviewer for that one. But yeah, that and Karen Ng at Partner Day was like mind-blowing, and I can't tell you anything about it if you're not a partner, because every slide had confidentiality, and those are, you'll probably find them somewhere, because that's what everyone kept taking pictures on. But
Are you sure you don't take cold showers, bud? Are you sure about that?
that's, oh my gosh, like the whole thing at Partner Day, where I because one of the heads of legal came up to me, one of the important lawyers at HubSpot, and said, "Can you please mention something to them about confidentiality again?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." And so we called an audible. I had them throw an extra slide right in the middle of the presentation, and then I just like went to town. But yeah, Karen Ng, her whole talk was phenomenal about the things that are coming down the pipe for
That we're not allowed to talk
partners.
about.
Yeah, there's other things that were very app partner specific ideas on where to position yourself and what HubSpot may or may not be working on in the future, and where there are places that are ripe for innovation in the app partner ecosystem.
But
And
our
so,
listeners aren't allowed to know.
you
That's
had
all
to have
behind the
been there.
paywall.
Yeah, you had to have been there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. Max,
Yeah.
did you get to your destination of telling me what your favorite session at Inbound was that you're still thinking about, or are you still driving?
This is going to be awkward.
This is uncomfortable. Isn't
Oh,
it?
I can't wait.
I didn't go to any
I think I
sessions
know
at
the
Inbound.
answer to this.
I approximately watching Devin do his intro at Partner Day was the closest thing I got to literally any session whatsoever. I spent the first 3 hours of Partner Day trying to find dry ice for these popsicles that we were giving out in a van outside of the hotels.
Wait. Is
yeah.
this what comes in? Because I have a question here. Literally, I will put a
Yeah, do ya?
screenshot of this in the article. Can someone please explain Devin's topic suggestion for this episode of, and I quote, Max giving away ice cream out of a van like a serial killer?
Okay. So, here's the backstory. If you're familiar with Happily at all, right? We have sort of like a brand identity of
You mean a
the
logo?
Paleta. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's we have this whole ice cream van, ice cream truck vibe going, right? And that's because ice cream is always served with a smile. Right, and everything we do is served with a smile
Why
as well.
did Max's face
So-
just get creepy looking when he said that?
Because everything is served with a smile. Okay.
Yeah, the freezer they had in the back of the van looked big enough to hide more than ice cream. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, so we Dax did a wonderful job at hiring this awesome company that made these 3D molded popsicles that were the shape of all the different apps that we have, because Paletas is like the whole theme. So we make a Paleta logo, and a Paleta is like a popsicle. It's I think I don't know where the origin of the word comes from, but yeah, it's like a popsicle, and that's like our logo. So we made a whole bunch of popsicles that looked like the logos of the different apps. They were delicious. They were fruity. They were
very refreshing. But the thing is we had to get them the day before, and then we had to figure out a way on how to store them. So I was calling around to every single place that sold ice going, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I know I need a bunch of dry ice for a bunch of popsicles that we got for a conference. And they're like, okay, how much do you need? And I go, I don't know, but I think the guy told me 120 pounds, and I have no idea if that's a lot of dry ice or not. And it was agony having conversations with these people, and no one could drop it off. So we had to like go to this place, like this creepy place to go get it. We didn't end up doing that because the hotel hooked us up and let us keep the pops in the freezer overnight.
Nice.
Which was awesome. So
what hotel?
At shout out to the Renaissance Boston Waterfront Hotel.
Shout out Renaissance.
Yeah, shout out Renaissance. Shout out Renaissance. Which, by the way, was only like a 5-minute walk from the venue, but I ended up taking Ubers like 2 out of the 3 days because it was so hot. It felt like 15 miles.
Only you had
for a while.
like something to cool down, like I don't know, like ice cream or something.
And now
Yeah,
it's like
sure.
50 degrees up here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it just would have been weird if I was stuffing popsicles between my thighs to keep cool. Anyway, so moving on from there. Anyway, so the next day, we get the van, and it's not an ice cream truck, it's an ice cream van, which it's a white ice cream van. And, we basically had to come up with some deals with the valets of the Omni and the Westin to allow us to park our ice cream van at the hotels, which is awesome. They were super cool about it. They let us like post up and hand out a bunch of like ice cream and popsicles and stuff like that. We even had the people that were working the front desk come out, and we were giving them like bags of popsicles and stuff that they could share with everybody. It was awesome. So shout out to the Omni, shout out to the Westin for letting us like post up. But here's what I wasn't expecting. When you jump out from behind the door of a van to people coming around the corner going to lunch, and you say, hey, you want a free popsicle? They're shaped like our apps. People don't necessarily respond well to that.
I'm not gonna lie, I almost swung on you,
so.
and I know you. So
Yeah. So
like, you almost caught all of these hands, bro.
Most people were giving me one of these. No, I'm good. Thanks.
Right.
Psycho.
Like,
Absolutely not.
But
And I
hold
was
on,
like,
there's more context. They're sitting in the carport or the roundabout, and there's this overhang, and it's kind of dark in the shadows. So you're coming in from the bright sunlight into this dark thing, and then you see Max, who is not a small man, jump out from behind this van and say, "Hey, you want some free ice cream?" In the meantime, there's a dude, two dudes, each one have cameras. So it's like, if I hit them, it's gonna get on TikTok. But at the same time, I don't feel safe right now. And then you got the one dude just hanging out the truck like, "What flavor do you want?" And it's like, bro, like, this is not okay. This is not okay. I appreciate what you're trying to do. It's a very, like, in lemon, in the lime, and all of these colors are wonderful. But I swear to God, if you don't get away from me, we're gonna have a problem. But also, I'll go ahead and do a video with you.
So wait, lime, was that zebra?
Yeah. Lime was zebra. Lemon was Clone Attack. We had, it was supposed to be blueberry, but it ended up pretty much just being coconut for Orchestrate. So I had to tell everybody, warning, it says blueberry, but it's very coconut forward in that it totally just tastes like coconut and there's not a trace of blueberry in there. and so I was like explaining it to everybody because everyone was like, "Oh, that's not blueberry, it's coconut." Anyway, so the funny part of this story, I was like, spent 3.5 hours.
You're
like,
getting to the funny part?
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm getting to the funny part of the story. This is the best part. So it was also hilarious that we had the camera crew there because they were just shooting like B-roll for stuff that they were shooting for Happily, but like totally looked like, oh, this is a prank show or something. No, I don't want like. Anyway, they were only there for a little while. But here's the funny part, right? So the whole day we were there with the guy who like ran the truck, and it was his truck, and he helped us give it all. It was this guy Tony, right? So we were hanging out with Tony, right? So I get there, Dax is like, "This is Tony. Tony's the truth. He knows what's going on. He's driving the truck. He's gonna help give it out. It's awesome." I'm like, "Hey, Tony, nice to meet you." Right? I made a video. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm here with Tony. We're handing out ice cream in front of the Omni. We're gonna be here for like whatever, da-da-da-da-da." Right? Spent the whole day talking to Tony, doing this, like, "Hey Tony, can you help, like, give me a water, or like, do you have a napkin back there?" Tony, right? So we get to the end of the day. Tony. So we get to the end of the day, and Tony has to leave, right? It's like $3.50. He's got to go to another job. So he gives us a whole bunch of the popsicles, and he puts them in a milk crate because we only gave out like half of all the popsicles that we had. So like,
I
we
can't imagine why.
Yeah. We ordered too many of them.
And not confusing
But, like,
and terrifying at all.
They had a ridiculous. They had like a ridiculous minimum, so like we had to get a whole bunch. Anyway, so he gives me a milk crate. I take the milk crate. I go to the front of the BCEC where everyone is like filing out of the building, and I'm like, "Hey guys, you want free popsicles?" And I was standing out yelling at these people as they were leaving the BCEC to take a free popsicle. Got rid of them all. It was great. We went inside. I go back to the booth. Right, Dax is there, Tyrone's there, Connor's there. We're all there. We're like taking pictures. And he's like, "Hey man, how'd it go?" I go, "It was awesome. Tony is the truth. He was the man. That was super cool." Dax looks me dead in the eye and he goes, "Who's Tony?" And I'm like, "Tony, the guy that was in the truck, the guy driving the truck was Tony. I hung out with him all day." He's like, "His name's not Tony." And I'm like,
Oh no.
I'm like, "Dax, what do you mean his name's not Tony? You said his name was Tony." Like, I call him Tony all day. And he goes, "Dax, his name is John." And I'm like, "Dax, his name's Tony. You said his name was Tony." He's like, "His name is John." And then he whips out an email and shows it to me, John, in all capital letters. And I'm like, "I called John Tony all day." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I thought you said his name was Tony." And I literally called this guy John Tony all day. And what's so funny is if you go look back at and bless his heart, he was the man. He just, he just decided he was Tony at that point because he didn't want to like break my heart or like embarrass me or something. I called this man Tony 1,000 times that day, right? Because I was trying to be nice to him, was trying to use his name, not his name, right? And the best part is if you go back and you watch the video where I'm telling everybody, right? I go, "I'm here with Tony," and I point the camera at Tony, and Tony just smiles like, "No, not my name." And you can go back and see it. And I'm mortified because I called John Tony all day. And so if I ever see John again, John, if you're randomly watching this, sorry for calling you Tony. But yeah, dude, that was super fun. And it was awesome. Like, of all the people that looked at me weird, there was, the same amount of people that came up and were super stoked about it and loved them. And it was great. And it was a really cool activation and super fun. But, a lot of funny stories that came with it. So sorry, John.
Okay. Speaking of which,
the man's name was Tony. It was not Tony. It was John.
George, I don't know how you follow that, but what's your favorite inbound session this year?
Oh, well, first of all,
I didn't go to a single session and just call the guy Tony.
I'm gonna say the good thing is, I went to sessions, and I actually know their names, so there is that. But I will tell you, there's first of all, we can't go past here without saying Yamini freaking killed it this year. It was super dope, super good, clean, professional talk. Like, it was just amazing. Andy Petrie, super dope. He had the audience in his hand. Like, he did a really good job. And of course, Dharmesh, oh my God. Like, luckily I had a chance to like ride up an escalator with them and be like, "Dude, you killed it once again." Like, it was absolutely amazing because we were going to like different places. He was trying to get to his room because he was done with humans. I was trying to get to the humans because I needed more. It was like that kind of story. But he killed it. But my favorite session, I got to be honest with you. I'm just a fanboy. I don't know what to do with myself. But Kyle Jepsen's session was freaking fire. Like,
what was he session about?
It's everything every super admin needs to know. And he was so freaking funny. And he was talking about how he didn't have enough time and to do all the things that, he needed to teach everybody. And so he's like, "Let me go to the important part." And literally he's like, tick, 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 on his computer. And he goes past like 3/4 of his presentation. He goes, "Okay, now we're going to talk about this." And he literally goes through this piece. And then also he's like, "Okay, with that said," and he hits his computer again. And you see it fly all the way back to the beginning. And he's like, "Welcome to my session on everything that super admins need to know." And like, he just took it to like the rest of the time of what he could talk about. And it wasn't a presentation slide. It was his computer. And he was going all through HubSpot in different places. And like, he'd run into something that HubSpot decided to break right before the presentation. And he'd like slip right through it and past it and talk through it. And I just was sitting there and I'm like, This dude is a freaking pro. Like, he is a pro presenter. He's in front of, and by the way, it was a large room. Like, we're talking 3rd floor, open up the thing, have the seats there. Everybody was leaned in. I didn't see anybody leaning back. My son, who is very much like Max and Devin, who are like, squirrel, what? Was like, came out of the session going, that was amazing. That was fun. Like, that's my favorite one. Because he just kept everybody's attention, and it was so dope.
And one thing I'll do is that I'll link in the show notes. If everybody's sitting there going like, super admin, what? We got a whole episode dedicated to that. But George, could you just take like 10 seconds and tell people real quick for the folks at home what a super admin is?
I mean, first of all, a super admin is a setting in your portal. If you go into your portal and you see that like 14 out of 17 people in your organization are super admins, go fix it, because you just broke some stuff and people can do things they shouldn't do. But super admins really is this idea of you've got 2 or more hubs, marketing hub, sales hub, add-in service hub, add-in operations, and you've got to help the humans, the marketing team, the sales team. You might be part of the marketing team, by the way, but you've got to get in and understand the settings and the trenches and the like how this affects that. You know, the piece that I absolutely lost my on earlier, where it was about life cycle stages and leads. Super admins are it's literally gonna be part of the new super admin boot camp. Kyle and I already talked via LinkedIn. Like, yep, needs to be part of the new boot camp, because super admins are gonna need to know about this information. Like, it's the deep end of the pool pertaining to HubSpot, and you classify yourself as, hey, I'm a HubSpot super admin because I'm here to help humans actually be good at it in my organization.
It's amazing.
It's a way of life. It's a mindset. It's really just a state of being.
Max, where are you driving to now, bud?
I'm driving to the super admin, super secret hangout.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know what I'm saying.
I got 2 more questions, but the first one is really important. I want us to all give like a virtual group hug.
Crap.
What?
Chris said, did he miss the circle back? I still got to be the circle back guy.
We're
Anyway,
circling back.
your
We're gonna
2
circle
questions.
back.
Yo, Liz is about to square up before you circle back, dog.
What were we?
I
gonna
will
circle back on?
BCC the entire HubSpot nation on my upset email if you don't zip it.
Okay, I'll be quiet. I'm done.
We have gone many moons without AI poetry. George, you really want to tempt me today? Do we want to go?
No, I'm good.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to give a quick virtual hug for, can we just talk about how Devin like slayed it at Inbound this year? We already touched upon, look how comfortable Devin is right now.
He's really uncomfortable right now.
Well, no, and the reason why I think this is so important is if you didn't go back and listen to the episode yet about how impactful Inbound is as an event, one of the things that Devin talked about so beautifully and eloquently in a way that I know resonated with myself, George, and a lot of the listeners is that, you know, a lot of us don't consider ourselves extroverts. We may scream at each other and ask Max, where are you driving us? Wait, we don't have a car. What is happening? But like for the most part, we are hissing cave dwellers who get very anxious around large groups of people.
Yeah, I'm an introvert.
Devin, I know, George, we know. Is it all about the humans? Because for me, it's all about the please go away. I like it dark in here.
Yeah,
But
for me, it's all about the humans.
But for Devin, it was all about killing it. You emceed at Partner Day. You did the HubSpot Live Takeover on Instagram. You were killing it with Black at Inbound.
He ate a
then were
peanut
also
butter
on
pickle
YouTube
sandwich.
Like, George,
Hey, so did
Matt,
I.
can we just talk for a moment about how freaking amazing it was to watch our fellow Hub hero just like rise the way he did over the weekend?
Boss player.
Proud moment.
Player.
Loved it.
Well,
When I
two
walked in, I
things.
said, I know that guy.
There-
You know him.
There's 2 things that I feel people should know. One, I don't want the pickles and peanut butter to be a part of my legacy. So,
And yet here we are.
yeah, if there's anything, like you eat one pickle and peanut butter sandwich, and all of a sudden you're
Never say yes.
I'm not gonna
Never say
be
yes.
that guy.
Forever tainted.
But the other thing is I would be remiss if I didn't shout out the Black and Inbound team. I am the founder of Black and Inbound, and I definitely am proud to have got it to where it had gotten by the time I met Shayna Summers, who is this phenomenal human being, phenomenal HubSpotter. Even though, and I hope she hears this, she and I have beef because she took my Arlen Hamilton signed album cover, but we're going to let that slide. She took over the community and now has an entire team of people whose job year-round is the Black and Inbound community. We have a new platform, new online platform, but that space, the activation was designed by Cassandra, who is the Black and Inbound community manager, and I guess moonlights as an interior designer because for the second year in a row, it was the most fly space in HubSpot, or in all of Inbound, no question. Can't wait to see what happens next year.
It made our booth look like it was made of cardboard.
Well, it made every booth look like it was made.
It was made of cardboard, but
yeah, it's true actually. Yeah, no, you're right.
The Black and Inbound activation was amazing, and the people involved. I mean, year round, you have Shayna, Cassandra, you have Kyle, you have all these people involved, and then everyone who has a dotted line over. Like Oscar, who does things. There's so many people. Bree, who works with the media team. There's so many people who were involved in making it a success, put it together. Literally, at this point, all I do is show up and just do the media thing and talking and handshaking and all that. But
Shaking
as far
babies.
yeah, that's it. Shaking babies and kissing hands.
I don't think that's how that saying goes.
Why? Is this why
It
we're
is,
allowed to
man.
come to
It
Inbound
is, man.
next
That's
year?
that Mandela effect.
I don't get to go to Inbound until I
God.
learn not to shake the babies. Got it. Okay. Got it.
There actually were babies at Inbound too. It was hilarious. It's not exactly what I would call a God no, it's not what I would call a family event.
Hold up. Come on now. My babies were there. We were
Okay, but
making
your
it
babies aren't exactly
Your
babies.
entire family was there.
Your babies aren't exactly babies. Your
Yeah.
babies could probably handle me in a street fight if they ganged
Probably.
up. So yeah,
I
You
just want
brought
to
an
say,
army, George. You brought an army.
I did.
spending time, George, with your family at Inbound was like one of the best parts of it for
Absolutely.
me.
Tell
It is
me
like
about it. I'm so jealous.
it is so cool that you have the entire crew literally running like your solutions partner.
Because people
Like
don't realize,
business.
like,
It's
they're
so
working
sick.
with you. Like,
Yeah.
your family. You put the whole family to work.
And real quick, make sure this ends up in the podcast, Noah. But Noah has the most fly shirt collection, like of anyone who was at Inbound or anyone. Period. Like he showed up, of course, with the Deadpool love, showing the Deadpool, and I appreciated that. But he was also rocking the Mandalorian. I mean, the guy has like taste, like
Absolute
chef's
legend.
kiss.
I
The
don't
man
even
has
think
taste.
a lot of our listeners realize that whenever we're shouting at Noah, leave it in, cut that out. Like, Noah is George's son.
Yeah.
I will say the funniest part of dinner is when I look over and the three of them are just playing with fire, like poking a flame, and I was like,
yeah, that's my kids.
"You guys are adorable."
Well, they thought it was a candle. They thought it was a candle, and then all of a sudden they realized, oh, that's real fire. And I'm like, yeah. You're in a real
Is
restaurant.
a
not
candle not made of
McDonald's.
real fire?
Well, you know, they have the light bulb candles that look like it. Like, I remember I took a girl out to a fancy restaurant, and the first thing she noticed is that the candles were actually fire. They kept
Oh my
holding-
God, is that
it
a
was
date
her
that
and her
you
mother,
took?
and they just kept holding their hands over the flame. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's an actual candle. Yeah,
that will burn you.
this is a classy joint.
So it
All
was
right.
interesting.
Speaking
It-
of classy joints,
Well, hang
George,
on,
you want to
hang
circle
on.
back?
Yeah. Well, first of all, if I want to say something about the whole family thing because it's interesting, and we'll probably talk about it more, not on this podcast, but somewhere about what I'm about to say. First of all, next year I want to have my other son, who also works for the company there, and I want to have Jorge there as well from Mexico, who's a HubSpot implement. So next year it's going to really be an army. Like, we're just going to bring them all. But what's fun is when we were walking through Inbound, the first day was really awkward because I'd be like, yeah, this is my family. And then my one daughter, Kaylee, goes, can you please introduce us as your team? Like, we do work for you. And so
Yeah,
then,
Kaylee,
like,
that's right,
that
girl.
felt awkward. I'm like, this
Let
is
'em
my
know.
team. And then I go,
Let 'em
family.
Flex.
Well, then my daughter, she coined this phrase. She said to me, she goes, Dad, just introduce us as your theme because family always comes before team. And I swear to
Whoa,
God,
talking
for
about
the rest of the
fire.
time, I would say, hey, this is my theme, which immediately I got people's attention. They would look at me and I go, because in our household, family comes before team. And then I would explain, this is our podcast editor, video editor. This is, our content person. This is our social media person. My wife does billing and project man. And people were like, that's like, you could see when they had been explained what a theme was. Like it was a thing. And then I believe it was Courtney from the HubSpot Academy. She goes, wow, you guys are like the inbound family. And I was like, oh, I'm going to remember this moment.
Familia.
Like familia forever.
For a second, I was like, for a second, I thought you were just like taking a hit of a vape. I was like, wait, what did you? She said, you guys, the inbound family, are like, yeah, man, it's crazy.
Oh my God.
No, not that guy.
Honestly, dude, it was so awesome hanging with you guys. And like, I remember we were having some conversation where it's like, man, this is the new American dream, right? Instead of, families working on the farms, it was like, my daddy was a rev ops and his daddy was a rev ops before that. It ain't much. It ain't much, but it's honest work.
That is a soundbite for the ages. My mama was in
God.
Rev Ops. My mama's
It's
mama
just
was
the
in
best.
Rev Ops.
His daddy before that, he was a marketing ops, but we love him all the same.
He could spell revenue. Drive it, I'm not sure.
That's young Jimmy. He builds the lists. That's pretty much all we have him do.
But does he know how to manipulate a lead object? That's the real question.
We got the we taught the dog how to import the contacts. It's yeah.
Yeah, that's
all right.
Myron.
I'm done with
He
this
doesn't
bit.
talk much, but he does all the workflows.
Yeah.
George, time to circle back, bud. Time to circle back.
Does anybody remember what I was going to circle back on?
You said it was something secret.
Something that they
my
glazed
God.
over.
Yeah.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say.
Oh my God. Oh.
Here we go. Oh my God, he's revving up,
Here's
guys.
the deal. Here's the deal. Gentlemen, start your engine. So I'm at Partner Day, and they're talking about, the marketing hub, sales hub, like operations. Like they got this just gigantic slide up, and then they just change and start talking about something else. And I'm like, did not anybody else see the thing that was on the right of the screen? Because they didn't talk about the thing that was on the right of the screen. So I just kind of keep my mouth shut. I lean over to Ian Jacobs and I go, did you see? He goes, I saw. Okay, I'm just going to be quiet about it. Because I knew that Andy had to do this talk the next day to everybody, to 12,000 people. And so he starts doing his shtick and sales hub, and marketing hub, and operations hub. And then all of a sudden, boop, turns and starts talking about something else. And I'm like, did not 12,000 people see the right hand of the screen? Did they not see that there's a new hub? That HubSpot has a new hub? Did not anybody see that we now have a commerce hub? That, yes, they're not verbally talking about, but they're visually showing commerce hub. And I literally asked somebody, not to be disclosed, they're pretty in HubSpot. I said, you guys weren't ready to talk about it yet, but you wanted to tease people, didn't you? And their answer was, we're not ready to talk about it. But yes, we wanted to tease people. So
what
commerce hub is a thing.
What is the commerce hub?
So there's more to come, and I can't really tell you a lot of things that might be in my brain or might not be in my brain from conversations that I had or may not have had. But I can tell you right now, it's a bundle of things that some people know about and some don't. First of all, you got payments. Second of all, you got quotes. You might be in the invoice beta or have enabled invoices in your portal at this point too. And there's a lot of mini features that go around with some of those things, and there might be layers coming potentially or not. Right? If you're not ready to talk about it, it's probably not fully fleshed out. But there's a base of things that are going in a direction that there were words on screens that said Commerce Hub. And nobody lost their damn mind.
A Commerce Hub team did in the back corner when they said it.
I was like, how did you not see that?
He didn't like pump it up. he kind of just went to the next page
No,
and said,
no,
and
no,
that's
no,
why
bull
people like
crap, bullshit.
what?
He was like,
Whoa,
he was
we got
like,
a hard edge.
he was like,
A hard
Sales
edge.
Hub, Marketing Hub, and the comment. And so
That's what
over
I'm
here,
saying.
ladies and gentlemen, like he was like, and then he just like moved on.
George,
Like-
that's what I just said. Like he didn't go, and we've got a big new hub coming. He said, and that's why people love Commerce Hub. And that was like the first time they said that publicly.
And that
right?
was
And it's
People.
like,
Future
hey, what?
people.
Most
Future
people who love HubSpot payments. That's the thing.
Listen, my whole
HubSpot
business
payments.
runs on invoices, payments, quotes, like that's how we do it here.
This
I'm just saying.
how we do it.
Yeah, we should go
That
back
was fun.
around.
I'm so glad I just sang by myself and completely awkward. Anyway, final
What
question.
did you just sing?
I was singing.
Sorry.
Chris, he really is the creepy ice cream van guy. I'm just.
He really
Saying.
is. All right, guys. Final question. Are we ready? What is one thing?
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna have to put you in timeout.
Max, drive yourself to the corner so I don't have to.
Wait, who was he? Who was he one episode? Who was Max one episode? We kept calling him Mark. Yeah, we called you
Mark
We're
after
gonna put
dark.
you in timeout. We're gonna
Because
put you in timeout, Mark.
Liz called me Mark at the beginning of. Oh wait, someone called me Mark at the beginning of that.
No, it
episode.
was me. It was 100% me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
forgot your
So
name
you
for
were
a whole
Mark the rest of
episode.
the
It was
episode.
great.
Mark,
You
we're gonna
Mark.
put you in timeout.
Mark,
was
you're in
Mark.
timeout.
Yeah.
So,
All right, guys. Final question.
hold on. Before we continue.
I'm never going to get to this final
I'm
question.
sorry. Not
I'm
yet.
never getting out of Max
Because-
will pull this conference over. He will pull this podcast recording all the way around.
All right. Well, here's what I'm gonna say. There are things that are now because post inbound that are publicly facing about Commerce Hub. I've been intentionally quiet during that conversation because I'm not sure what I am and am not supposed to talk about. But I can tell you can go to that website and learn more about Commerce Hub.
George, don't go there yet because I need you to answer my final question.
That's fine, but Liz, make sure that link right there.
Yes.
That the people who are here watching us live, not the people that are listening to the podcast, but the people that are watching us live could have clicked on already.
Devin, can you do that for me, bud?
Do what?
Someone put a link somewhere.
Oh, we got it.
Oh,
yeah,
I
it's
put
in
it
the
in
You got it?
chat.
You got it? You
It's
got
in
it?
the chat.
Okay.
Oh, we got it. We got it.
All right, so this really well organized, not unhinged, and absolutely focused episode is now finally coming to a close with a final question, unless Max would like to hit his soundboard one more time.
Sorry, Tony.
Thanks,
John.
bud.
Sorry, John.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Okay, what is your one wish for impact? Can you imagine how messed up this episode is going to be next year when I'm there with you all? This is about to be a lot. All right. What is your one wish for inbound next year? And I want you to think about it this way. Either something they should start doing, stop doing, or keep doing.
They should put me on the main stage. Next.
Yes.
I have a controversial opinion.
Max, what do you got?
What are they going to do? Fire you?
Based on
Make them
true.
show more popsicles.
I'm kind of done with Boston.
What?
What?
Yo, let's do inbound in like Denver or LA.
God, where there's high
Or-
altitude, so no one will remember anything because we've all passed out.
Hey,
Yeah,
let's
high
go-
altitude
let's
isn't the
go to-
only thing that will make people forget what's happening in Boston.
Seriously.
Heyo.
I mean, I don't know. But like, I get it. Like when Boston, when HubSpot had like 5 HQs there, and it was a whole thing. But it's like let's go somewhere else. We've been going to the BC
Where you gonna
for how
drive
many
us,
years
Max?
now?
Dude,
Where you
not
driving?
all of us live in Boston. All right? Some of us
What
us
about
like the
Madison?
Oh,
shit.
you like coming to Boston 10 years in a row? Is that what we like doing?
Let's go
You're
to
not sick of
Yeah,
Mattapan.
let's go to Cleveland.
Let's go
Mattapan.
to Cleveland.
Mattapan. I want to
Yeah.
go to Mattapan.
Mattapan. Let's have inbound at the casino.
That's a deep cut
Go down to
for a
Mohegan
Boston
Sun,
folk.
kid.
I can just hear Noah right now. He's going to be like, an hour and what?
Because no one will answer my questions. Oh my god.
Oh, Chris, you
You know
need
what?
to calm down,
If I had
buddy.
my way, inbound's going to be at the end of the blue line at Wonderland, and that is a very uncomfortable place to go. Anyway, George, what's your wish for inbound next year?
Yeah. I would love to be able to do a live recording of the Hub Heroes podcast
Yes.
in front of an audience, because I feel like the 4 people that get together every Friday at 3 that lay it down, that are passionate. And I would also say this, if whoever in inbound land, HubSpot land hears this, Max promises to bring his steering wheel to the live episode just for dramatic effect, so he can be driving to God knows where the entire time we're trying to have a serious conversation, because this is a serious podcast.
I'm gonna, you know what? That's mine. I'm not even gonna add something different. Live Hub Heroes show.
Yeah.
Hub Heroes is all about the humans, just like HubSpot started out with, right? So let's do it live. Let's do it live and get completely unhinged, and then Noah can't be there to save us from ourselves.
Imagine us just screaming at each other in front of everybody, and how awesome that would
Max,
be.
that's not
The only
helping.
thing, the only thing wrong is that it'll be live from Sheboygan because of Max's.
It's Friday
Going to
afternoon.
Sheboygan, baby.
Live from
HubSpot
Duluth.
2024, live from Sheboygan.
Now, see,